S&A Treasures sponsored all of these little beads, and so we're making these beads that he is going to sell. So you can look him up and he'll sell them.
Heard about having a hug from God.
I think you're the first person that told me that when we talked about this episode.
Right. You know, it's like having a hug from God kind of is like that moment that you feel God's presence, or that moment or that place that you feel like you're called to. And like these people that have been entering my lives recently, which are like friends or family members, whatever, you know, like they have been hugged from God for a good period of time now in my life. And that's a lot to be grateful for when you have a support system. And, you know, I've been feeling a lot of pressures and stuff going on recently in my life with a lot of obligations and things. But it's not as much now that I have these people in my life. And I feel like that's the work of God. It's like, you know, you're feeling down, you feel like you have no support. Here's the people that I'm going to give to you to call your support, to look back on, to rely on.
Tell me about your journey with God.
It started so far back. Actually, it started in the village of Santa Neja, Rizal. So it's all the way up north. A very beautiful village. From afar, you can see Chatamal. But we lived out there with my grandma. And my mom used to manage a place there, and so that's where we resided. And when I was there, my grandma, I used to be the little trouble kid. My grandma used to say, "I'm not leaving you alone home with the girls because you're just gonna give them headaches," not knowing that they were the ones who were at home giving themselves headaches. But so she would take me to church with her, and the mass were Spanish masses. I knew Spanish at the time because I was doing preschool there, and the primary language in Sarteneja is Spanish, of course. So I knew some Spanish at the time.
Okay,
some of it left, but not all of it. So if you ask me to speak right now, I can't give you it.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's nothing for me to give
practice,
you there.
I guess.
Right. And so I had been going to church. Like to say, which was like out of force, you know, it's like, you know, we don't want to keep you home to give trouble, so let's go. We're gonna go. And I see this image of God, of Jesus on the cross, and he's just leaning over because he's on the cross, and he's just leaning over, looking down at us. I understand what these people are saying, and you know, it's something I was kind of afraid of because at the time I heard, you know, don't sin. Don't sin, or you know, this will happen or that will happen. And so I was a bit scared. It was a lot for me to digest as a kid at that point in time. And then we had moved from Sarteneja. My grandma was getting a bit older, and so it was hard for her to just be her in Sarteneja along with us and my mom. And so we end up moving to Belize City, and we went to Whole Redeemer school. And that's pretty much where the faith really started, because we started practicing more often. We were in church, and they were very careful and very intentional in how they spoke to us about God and how they spoke to us about Jesus and the religion and the faith, you know. And as a kid, that's really reassuring to know that, you know what, all this time I've been seeing this guy who looks down at me, in a literal sense. Now I understand him. I understand his purpose on that cross as a kid. It's no longer too much for me to digest. It's now for me to understand why he's there and what's the purpose of it and everything.
Yeah.
You know? From there, we used to go to church on Sundays, with my dad, my mom, my siblings, for a while, for a good period of time. And then that had halted for a good period of time. And then my dad had passed away, so a lot of the things that we did with church didn't really do much. My mom was working 2 jobs. My mom's my superhero, you know. She's been working 2 jobs. She's making sure everything fits for us, and you know, all that. And then my faith wasn't much there, and I don't really want to say it. I don't think it's my mom's fault because she has her own stuff that she needs to juggle. She's working 2 jobs. She has 4 kids. We'll have her own stuff going on. And then I went to St. John's College as a student, and my first year I was a bit troublesome. I was racking up some demerits, very close to suspension.
Ooh.
And I end up. My mom went to school one day, and we realized the campus minister was my cousin, and everybody was like, "Okay, well, you're gonna stay with her to just keep herself out of all this trouble that you've been putting yourself into." And then it all went from there because I started helping her with mass and the different stuff. I started helping her with retreats or whatever I could have helped with helping other students to understand who is God and why is your faith important. And then I started going on retreats, and I started seeing God for who He really was. There were some hard times because I had a lot of failures, a lot of setbacks, a lot of issues with my siblings and stuff. And you have those questions of like, where are you? Like,
Yeah.
who are you and where are you? Because I'm going through this hard time and you're not here, and you're like the one person who they said can help me with this problem that I'm facing currently. And then I went to the junior college, and I got involved in campus ministry there again. And from there, that was it. I kept going back to church, and then I left St. John's College, and I lost my faith a little bit. I was out working in the world. There was nothing religiously related to what I was doing. I was at a call center for a good period of time, so there wasn't much focus. I went straight to work and then back home, or whatever. So there wasn't much faith there. And then I saw the opportunity that it's available to apply for the campus ministry position at St. John's College. And I said, I'll give it a try. I have the background in it. I have some studies and whatever. And it worked out for the best. And I've been at this amazing job. I've been serving God. I've been feeling the hug of God through these kids, learning what love is, learning what having faith and growing together with other people, letting other people in, and helping others to walk this journey along with you. It's been good.
I know that you you said you got your degree in psychology?
So when I was at the junior college, we had done a criminal justice course that includes psychology, criminal justice, and law in it. So I have a bit of background in it, which did come in very helpful when you're dealing with teenagers and when you have to learn their ways and be understanding.
Just as a human being.
Yeah, just as a human being.
Like you just understanding yourself. Yeah, I mean, I know that in Belize and in the church, sometimes we can kind of write off mental health or the fact that we all have issues.
Right.
And we think, like if you just don't think about it, don't focus on it. If you're strong enough mentally, you don't have to deal with whatever it is that you have with Christ and with trying to be a Christian. Like, how is that? Right. How has your faith shed light on your own mental health?
Right. Well, we've had this conversation, me and you, about this. One, I'm always open when it comes to talking about my mental health, and when talking about what I have been through in my younger years. And I would say younger. I would say younger years. I'm still young, so that's the truth of it. I'm pretty much still young, but I'm talking about from 14, 15, you're facing all of these stuff yourselves. And at the time, you don't know how to speak up about it. You don't know how to talk about it. You don't understand what's happening to your body, what's happening with your mind. Why are you having these thoughts that you're having about yourself, whether if it's a negative image or if it's a positive image? Like, you don't really understand it. And there's a lot going on there,
Yeah.
But I've had this, I've always had this feeling of sadness And I've never been able to classify it before. I was like, I'm sad all the time. Like I feel drained. I feel tired. I feel exhausted. Doing just a little bit more than what I usually do takes so much energy from me. I don't want to be around people. I constantly, even if I don't want to be around people, there's some people that I constantly try to reach out to. And I was like, why are these the people that I try to reach out to? Which ended up being that, these are my comfort people. These are my people that I feel comfortable in talking to what I'm going through about. So I was diagnosed in my earlier teen years, I'm 21. In my teen years, with severe depression.
Oh wow.
And it was a conversation that I was not ready for at all, because it's something that I had run from my entire life. I was like, how is this something that I have? Like, what is this? What is this thing that we're talking about, and how do we address it? And so I got up one morning and I said, I don't feel okay, and I don't like that I don't feel okay. I don't like that I don't feel okay. And so I went on and I called the clinic, and they said, yes, you can come in, and you can see a psychiatric nurse. I went in and I sat down and I met with the most caring and genuine person ever, who I felt like it wasn't just her job just her job to listen to me. Like, it was her duty as a human being that she was doing this out of. And that was amazing. That was a gift.
Yeah.
And she said, you've been this person who's always been there for others. You've been this person who's always had to be other people's light, and you've always had to carry the burden of being the happy person. And being the happy person means that you suffer in silence when other people aren't used to you being the little sad guy at the time, right? And so I was like, man, this opens a lot of doors for me, a lot of things that I'm realizing now. Yeah. And in all of that, in any of that, like, I was not able to recognize God, because I've been in campus ministry and I've been going through all of these stuff, and I'm like, I'm going through all of this stuff, and this is the person that's supposed to take it away. How do I recognize him? How do I say that this is somebody who loves me when I know that this is the problem? Which a lot of people ask, not just teenagers. It's older folks that ask themselves that questions. We suffer, we go through all of these things, and how do we justify and see that there's a God when there's all of these things happening?
Yeah, exactly.
And I started learning the way of praying, the way that Saint Ignatius taught us, which is the way of examine. Thinking about what are the things that didn't go well today, and what are the things that didn't go that you want to fix today, and then you reflect and say, what are good things that happened to you within the past week, or within the past month, or within the past day, or whatever. And when you're able to identify those, you say, oh my gosh, this is God actively laboring through others to me. Like, this is where God has been present in my life this entire time, and I've just not been able to recognize it because I've been focusing on the negative emotions and the negative feeling, that I haven't had the time to say, where actually is he? Like, it's more than just, it's not complaining anymore. It's searching, it's finding, and when you find it, it's like, it's liberating.
Yeah. Something that I have always struggled with, and that every time I go to confession, they tell me that I need to do this, is gratitude. Yeah. Every single time they always say, like, if you just write down every day the things that God is doing for you and the ways that he is in your life, I feel like a lot of your problems would be solved. Right. Because we have these expectations of God needs to work in this specific way in my life. Right. Like, maybe it's, I'm struggling with depression and he needs to take away my depression completely in one instant. Right. Rather than seeing that, no, maybe he just wants relationship with you, and he wants to use the things that are causing you pain to show you something about yourself. Maybe he is offering opportunities for joy, but we just have a hard time seeing it. Right.
I love when we tackle the conversation on mental health. I hate straying away from it, because when you're open, when you talk about something,
let me tell
people
you.
know that it's okay to be open and to talk about it. It creates a culture of love. It creates a safe space for others to know that, okay, this is exactly where I want to be. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Or people are also able to identify and say, okay, I've had these things that this person is talking about. Do I have depression, or do I want to find out if I have if I have depression, or do I want to find out if I have ADHD or whatever it is about you know, anything whatsoever. But if you don't have the dialogue about it, it's very hard to have awareness and to let other people know that this is something that exists. This is something that is out there. Yeah, so you know.
I know for me, a big stumbling block has always been not. I think I relate to you in a lot of ways in that I always felt like I was the happy one. Like I had to be like I had to be the support, you know? And I had a hard time with letting other people be there for me.
Right.
And that is very difficult because when you have that idea that you have to be okay all the time, then it's hard to let God be there for you. Yeah. And it's hard to be honest with God. And oh my gosh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh, how did you do that? You have to show me so that you don't have to do all of mine.
Slip. I'll do a bigger piece here.
But yeah, so I think something that has always been a problem for me is I'll be struggling with something, things will be bothering me, and then I'll go to pray, and I'm just like, God, you're so good. Like, everything's fine. And I don't bring him the things that 5 minutes later I'm going to be complaining about when I leave the church.
Well, here's the thing, right? There's this thing that I see on social media where it says, you might not say it out loud, but God can still hear your thoughts. It's like, he can. He knows exactly what it is that's in your mind, what it is that you're not telling him. But he's waiting for the opportunity for you to be able to acknowledge that this thing is there. Like you have to be able to acknowledge. Like that's the first step of healing. Like you have to acknowledge that this is
something needs
a problem,
to be healed.
that something needs to be healed, that this is something that's going on in my life. And then you need to be able to acknowledge, and we need to be able to accept, right? Okay, I accept that this is something that is happening to me. And then you can work on forgiveness, and then you can go on and on and on and continue the entire chain of getting over a situation, of coming to terms with a situation and stuff like that, you know. But he hears, he knows. He's waiting for you to say that you know what he knows. Mm-hmm. You know.
Exactly. And he wants to come in, but he's not going to come in if you don't allow him to. And I just imagine, like, when we have things that we're going through, like, I think, okay, say you're my friend. You're my friend.
Yeah.
And there's something that you are going through, and I know you're going through it, but I don't want to be like, hey, Jason, you have to tell me about this thing. I mean, I probably would. But if I were God and were more patient and not as reactive as I am as a human being, I would say, I would wait until you came to me, but it would hurt me that you aren't coming to me. It'd be like, why isn't Jason telling me that he's struggling with this thing? Like, doesn't he know that I care about him and that I want to be there for him? And I respect him that he's not ready to come to me with this yet, but I really wish he would, because because God knows how he is going to resolve it. He knows how he's going to come into that.
Teach a little right here. So you see this little medallion here has a loop that goes this way, which means that if I string it that way, it's gonna lean to the side and not straight or upwards. So your little trick that you're gonna do is take this here, and then you're gonna fold it in half, and you're gonna insert. Just make sure the ends match up real quick. Right there. Bring the loop through, and then you're gonna take these two pieces and hold on. Bammy whammy, double whammy. Now it's front and center, and you can string your beads in any way possible. Boom.
Sorcery.
Yeah.
So tell me how ministry has helped you, Jason Cutkelvin, to overcome your things that you've had to overcome.
My things that I've had to overcome. At first it wasn't something that existed. I'll be honest with you.
What?
Like the ministry
Oh,
did not,
okay.
like,
Yeah,
working in the
yeah.
ministry, like, at first there was nothing that came from it. It was like, you're
Oh.
helping these students,
Yeah.
you're helping people, that's just it. You're serving, you're working with others, and that's just about it. And then it came to, you're helping people, and through helping people you help yourself, because you feel a sense of enlightenment, you feel a sense of help, that you are taking care of other people, that you're giving other people the attention and the love that they deserve, that, sad to say, you did not receive what you had needed at a point in time. It's like, the second step for me was like, okay, I'm giving these advice, I'm talking to these kids, I'm helping them pray, we're going through all of these things. And I was like, I practice this, but do I practice it as much as I encourage them to? Do I do it as much as I want them to do it, so that they can reach the place that I want them to reach it? And I sat down and I journaled, and I wrote about it, because a lot of things I do, I write, right? If you want to know my whole life, find the yellow book. Right? Like that's it. Like that's
yellow.
it. It's, of course it's yellow. Right? And you write. And I found myself saying, you just told this kid this, or you just told this person this, or you just prayed this with this person. Go home and practice the same. Or right after they leave, you practice the same with yourself. And that was when I started. That was when my mental health started improving, and that was when my relationship with God started growing, and that was when my love for other people started being stronger, and accepting that, you know what, in life there's a lot of challenges that comes your way, and they're never going to stop. Not as an adult, not as an older person, they're not going to stop. But you must be able to get comfortable in knowing that these things happen, but you also have to be comfortable in knowing that you have to let God in. God suffers with us. It's not like we're suffering and that's it. No, this guy is suffering with us. He's suffering through us. His very own son, or Jesus himself, had to suffer on a cross. And it's all for the betterment. It was for the betterment of others, not for himself. And that's what I think about when I'm doing the work. I'm doing a greater good for other people. And yes, there are times that I do get some enlightenment from it myself. I do feel some sense of happiness and whatever, and that's fine. But I'm giving that hug of God to other people.
Yeah, I think growing up I always was involved in ministry, and then as a teenager I didn't care about anyone else because that was just me. Yeah. And when I finally,
you're not at fault for that.
No, yeah. I mean, you go through that. That's a part of it where you have to come to a place where you figure it out for yourself.
Right.
You have to be like, okay, but all these things that I was told, all these things that I believed as a child, like, do I actually believe them? Are they the things that I want to believe?
Right.
I think that can be hard sometimes for parents, is that needs to happen.
Right.
Because you don't want your child to be just believing something because you told them, It's like you want them to actually make it their own and have it be a part of their belief system. So there needs to be a point where they kind of question things.
Right.
And if they have the right answers, then they'll be on the right track.
Of course.
But yeah, so I strayed away from the values that my mother wanted for me, and then came back and found that it was only in serving other people that I was actually fulfilled. When I'm working for something that's bigger than myself, something that helps other people, something that I feel passionate about, and that is for the greater glory of God, it's like everything that you do when you work for God has lasting value. Like it goes on beyond you, like all the lives that you touch. Yeah, I mean, I would like really encourage people to, if you feel depressed or you feel, I mean, it's not going to fix all your problems, but it's definitely going to help to get out of yourself and see
Right.
where can I do something that will help someone else,
Right.
and how can I make an impact in my church, in my world? Because if we think about it, God is literally perfect, right? Literally perfect. He's perfectly content. He lives in heaven, has everything he needs, does not need anything.
Right.
But he chose to make human beings for the sole purpose of being happy with him.
Right.
Like, it's like he has heaven, just chilling in heaven. And he says, heaven is so great that I want people to come. I want to create beings that are going to come into this with me.
Right.
Like, that's why we were all created.
Right.
Like, that is why.
Right.
We were created because God said, I want to share the eternal happiness that I enjoy with another person. And I will make this person in my image and likeness. So we have that inside of us.
Right.
Like, that is in our hearts of wanting to share good and beautiful things to other people.
Yeah.
If you think about it, right? I mean, if you have a song that you like, or you have a show that you like, you're like, I want my best friend to listen to this. I want my best friend to, or just anybody, you recommend things that you like because you want to share that with someone else.
Right.
That is God shining through in us. That is the signature of the Creator. You know, one of the many signatures of the Creator. The idea that we want to share what we love with others. The idea that we want to share beauty with others. And so, you know, that's why as Christians we have this desire to evangelize. We have this desire to bring other people and to tell other people, like, hey, I was in a horrible place at one point, and God came and he kind of just changed everything for me.
Yeah.
But I know that we talked about prayer.
We did talk about prayer.
And how it's hard sometimes, and that you were saying with your ADHD, that it's difficult. I was on a... My friend told me he thinks I have ADHD. And so I don't know if I actually have ADHD, but some people would say that I do.
Right.
So I don't know. But tell me about your experience with prayer and ADHD.
Well, there's a lot going on upstairs in my brain. And I'm diagnosed. I was diagnosed with severe depression, but the ADHD was something that was more of like hey, you might have this. My brain has this inability to focus on one thing. I have to be able to focus on a dozen things at once. And my job does call for it too, you know, which is very good because I'm able to get a lot of tasks done in a period of time. Sometimes it's taxing that you got so much things done in one, but you know, it's good that you were able to get that much work done. Because in my case, if I got that much work done, that means I reached out to this amount of students, I reached out to this amount of people, I've helped this amount of people reach this place that they've been wanting to reach for a good period of their lifetime. And that's good. But when it comes to prayer, I'm sitting there and I thought I was alone in this until a coworker actually brought it up. She said, you know, every time she's praying, like she starts Our Father, and then like halfway through, she hears like a fan click or something, like a fan starts spinning, and she opens her eyes, she looks up, and she's looking at the fan, and she's paying attention to the fan, and then she loses focus on a prayer. She says that happens constantly. Somebody starts tapping their feet. That's where the attention goes to, you know, a lot of stuff. And I had that problem, and so it was very hard for me to pray. It was very hard for me to focus. It was very hard for me to be able to say, to have those silent moments with God. And we're gonna reach the silent prayer in a minute, because that's a whole beast on its own. You know, but and so it was hard for me until I met the Jesuits. St. Ignatius teaches us the ways of examine. Teaches us the way to pray and what are the things that we're looking for when we pray. And so there are multiple ways. If you want to go research it, you can go and research it, the Jesuits. But for me, what worked was asking myself at the beginning, you know, we do the sign of the cross. And then I said, okay, first of all, God, thank you for giving me another day of life. Thank you for having my family members have another day of life as well. Thank you for having my mom in my life. Thank you for giving her the strength, the courage, the opportunity. And I start by praying for other people first, and then I focus on myself after. And what I do is I first look at what were the hard times that I've had today, or what were the hard times that I've had within the past week. What are the things that I've been struggling with? Did I feel like I was in a little bit of a depressive state where I felt sad again, or and so I evaluate and I wait out, and then I go, okay, those were some shadow times. What are the lights? What are the good things that has happened to me as well? Because I can't just focus on the bad. I have to focus on the good, and then after I've said, maybe my niece gave me a hug and she told me she loved me, or she gave me a little kiss on the cheek, and said she's always worried about me. I love her. She's cute. So I look at that and I said, okay, now do I see God this time only in the dark times that I've had, or the shadows that I've had, or do I see God in the light as well? Or do I just see him in the dark, or do I just see him in the good? So is it in both? Is it in either? And you kind of journal and you see, this is where I find God. This is the conversation. Because never forget that a prayer is a conversation with God. It's talking to him and bringing forth the problems that you're facing in your life. Right? We just talked about that. Right? It's bringing forth the problems that you're facing in your life. And so you're doing that, just not in the same way of just talking. It's having a conversation. It's going back and forth. Then there's also this thing that's called imaginative prayer.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Where you put yourself in the moment and you say, okay, this is what I'm feeling.
Yes.
I'm a British there. This is what I'm feeling. And I was tasked when I went on a silent retreat in Denver, Colorado. I was tasked with imagining that Jesus is next to me. And now that I imagine that Jesus is next to me, have a conversation with him. The same conversation that I would have with a therapist, or that I would have with a priest, or that I would have with a counselor. Have that conversation with him, And that has been one of the most helpful things in my life.
Really?
You ask and you answer. And I remember I walked along the trail, because it's up in the mountains. If you know Colorado, it's a mile-high state. And I'm walking along the trail on the mountain, and I had this little conversation with Jesus. And I was able to decide that I'm comfortable with where I am. I'm comfortable with now that I've healed the pain. I'm comfortable in helping others improve their mental state, whether it's through prayer or whether it's helping them find other outlets to be able to improve in mental health. I'm happy in making a community again, in doing community service, and helping the elderly and helping the poor, walking with the marginalized, in taking care of the earth, or common home, as Pope Francis calls us to. I'm happy in telling someone or giving someone a warm smile. I'm happy in being able to just wake up and realize, okay, I have another chance at this. I have another chance at fixing whatever I didn't do good in, or I have another chance at making someone else happy. And that conversation alone with Jesus gave me all of that thought, gave me all of that insight of what I needed in my life, and it's interesting.
Something that I've been working on that I've always had a hard time with was being honest with myself about the desires of my heart and the things that move my heart. Because sometimes we feel, I shouldn't feel this way, or I shouldn't think this way, or whatever it is. Or we have thoughts and feelings that are maybe not the best for us, whether it be unforgiveness or just dissatisfaction, whatever it is. Right. And then we just sit in it and we let those things take over our lives. Instead of, I think the solution that I have found is helpful is being honest with myself. Like, What am I feeling? And why do I feel this way? What is the good that I'm seeking in this? Because everything that we desire, there's some good that we are seeking. Whether it be we have unforgiveness because we desire a sense of justice, because we know that we deserve to be treated better than we were.
Right.
Or maybe we feel sadness because there's something missing in our lives and we don't know what it is.
Right.
And you shouldn't be satisfied with being unhappy. Like, you really shouldn't. You shouldn't say, well, this is just how life is going to be for the rest of my life.
Right.
Because as human beings, unhappiness is actually deadly. Like, dissatisfaction is deadly.
Yeah.
Why do you think that people struggle with depression? They'll struggle. Some people will have seemingly perfect lives. There's nothing seemingly wrong, but they're deep in the trenches of depression, deep in the trenches of anxiety, and they struggle with suicidal ideation or whatever it is, and it seems like nothing is wrong in their life.
Right.
And why is that? It's because you were not supposed to be unhappy.
Right.
You are not supposed to be having to be just okay.
Right.
That's not what you were made for. And so then it's just a matter of asking yourself the question of what was I made for?
Right.
What is it that I am seeking?
Right.
And sometimes we'll come up with solutions like, if I just get, I don't know, good grades, or if my parents gave me more attention, or if I got a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or if I don't know, I moved out of my parents' house and I went and lived my best life, and if I get the right job, if I make a lot of money, then my life will be fine, I'll be happy, everything will be perfect. But I can tell you from my own experience, not that I've had all of those things, but it just doesn't go away.
Right.
You know, you can have a good week, you can have a good day, and there's still that ache, there's still that emptiness, there's still that desire for something. It's like, is this all that there is? Because the answer is that there's not. This is not all that there is. Like, this earth that is just full of suffering and emptiness and the things that will not satisfy is not all that there is. There is so much more. There is a life of service, there's a life of communion with God, there's a life of love, there's a God that looks at you and sees who you are, and he has a plan for who you are, who you will be, and who your happiest self will be. And it's just such a beautiful journey. Oh my gosh, like, knowing that you're unconditionally loved and that there is somebody who's like rooting for you and is like delights in you, like, oh my goodness gracious me, like the way that Jesus, and just like, the way Jesus is so in love with you, Jason, and me and everyone, like, oh my goodness gracious, like, I can't even express it. He's just so in love. And it's not, you know, it can sound made up, but you just know it, you know, like, you just know it when he looks at you with this just like, that's my girl kind of way, you know? And I just, you know, everyone needs to know that and experience that. I think it's so important for people to, it's something worth questioning, or something worth pursuing. You know, I think people can get hung up when it comes to the church about, but the church says this and the church says that. Okay, just start with what the first thing that the church says, which is that God loves you. That's the first thing. It's the first thing the church says. Start there. You know, like, okay, what does this mean? Why? You know, can I in any way experience this love? Who is Jesus? All of those things. It's worth it, you know? It's worth looking into, it's worth questioning, and it's worth experiencing, like, for real.
If there's anyone who listens to this who has depression, or who is with poor mental health, or feel like you're alone, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that join me in saying that I pray for you, because I pray with my students every single day, and we have these conversations. We pray for you. We don't know who you are, But we keep you in our intentions, and not for just those who battle with mental health. Nonetheless, spiritual directions and and confessions, it can't be the end. It can't be just the ultimate end.
Yeah.
There's more that you have to do, whether if it's reaching out to a counselor, reaching out to a neighbor, reaching out to a family friend.
Exactly. Yeah.
And even if you just want to have a conversation with a priest outside of a confession, like talking helps, and it's very important. You're not alone. You will never be alone. You are loved. You might not know that we pray for you, but we do. You are in the intentions of somebody. Somebody notices, and they just don't know how. They just don't know if you're gonna let them in.
Yeah.
And that comes from personal experience when I'm saying this. They don't know if you're gonna let them in. So my advice is let them in. Let them in. Let God in. Let yourself in, and feel the emotions, and just say that this is happening to me, and this is where I want this. This is what's happening to me right now, and this is where I currently am, and this is where I want to be. This is the beautiful person that I want to become in life.
Yeah. And the thing is that the devil wants to keep us in shame,
right.
Like ashamed of our emotions, ashamed of what we're going through, perpetuating this idea that we have to be perfect before we go to God, before we go to the church.
Right.
And that's like literally how he gets a hold on us, because, dude, shame is deadly. Like if you have an ounce of shame, it is deadly, because it keeps you isolated. It keeps you trapped. And that's the thing that just closes in on you until you just can't take it anymore. And you just you snap, it's like I just have to keep going. I just have to keep being okay. One more day. And no, you don't.
Right.
You don't have to keep pretending like you're okay. You have to, it is only in the light that God can come in. And it is only when you humble yourself before him and you say, I just can't do this on my own anymore. I need you to come and help me. And you not only do that to God, but you do that to others. You do that to the people in your life that want to help you. And just like, that stop living in the lie that you have to do it alone. And that your feelings are somehow bad, and somehow nobody wants to deal with them.
Right.
And that you have to deal with them. Because that is simply not true.
Or you also need to understand that some people kind of have their own thing going on upstairs, and they don't really notice, or they don't really see what it is that's truly happening with you. And you can't blame them, because they have their own personal lives and they have their own things going on.
Yeah.
But if you're open to them, you have that conversation, they might be open to you and have that conversation to you as well about what it is that they're going through.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's a lot of resources. People say police don't have a lot, but there's a good amount of resources that you can rely on in order to, one, if it is that you want to reach out to God and let him be a primary source of happiness in your life, or two, if you want to be able to better your mental health state that you currently have, or if you want to be able, and if you're somebody who thinks that you're in a good mental health state as well, we're happy for you. But I'm calling on you and I'm asking you to help those who are in situations as well, because you know best. You've known from through experience. You've experienced it. You've gone through all of this, and so you're able to say, you know what? Well, each person is kind of different, but you're able to say, you know what? This helped me. Let's see if this works for you too. Or this helped John. Let's see if this works for John. Or this helped Tessa. Let's see if this works for you too.
Yeah.
It's not just about yourself. It's about, okay, I've had a beautiful journey. Now, how do I help others have a beautiful journey as well?
To suffer, like suffering is not bad, But Jesus shows us that suffering is part of the human experience. It's something that we cannot run away from on this earth. We're never gonna.
It is.
Oh, this is tea. We're never gonna not suffer, unfortunately. But we suffer together, and we suffer with the hope that one day we won't suffer.
Yeah.
We should. I don't know what I'm doing. I made, okay, so let me show the people what I made. So I made this one, just like a little pink, I don't know, maybe I can zoom in. How should I do it like influencer style? This is the first one. It's pink. It's Mary. It has a pink Mary. It's great. And then this one is a white and blue, so it's also Marian themed. It's wonderful. Mm-hmm. And this one, it's like St. Joseph inspired because green, and I couldn't really find brown, but it's like kind of orange, like burnt orange. And so this is like St. Joseph themed. Know that I made this with St. Joseph in mind. So if you buy it, then you're like repping him.
You're repping him.
Anyway, is there anything else that you would like to talk about?
No, for anyone who's listening, be kind to yourself.
Amen.
Be kind to others. Love others as you wish to be loved, and love others as God has loved you. Reach out if you ever feel like you're alone. You're never alone. There's always somebody who's either probably going through a similar situation or who can help you in that moment. But reach out and make the first step. It takes you a long way.
So
specifically
true.
Towards my young people, you are loved. And you are loved. So
you are not as alone as you think.
You're not alone.
Exactly. Well, this was a wonderful episode. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you to everybody for watching Beyond Basic and for being a part of the gang. I hope to see you for our future episodes of the show. And yeah, I just hope you have a wonderful week, and God bless.
God bless. Bye.